yes, I did say that I would boycott NASCAR for 2016 because of all the stuff they have done over the years. But that does not mean that there are YouTubian buddies throughout the entire NASCAR world who still have hope that NASCAR itself can be salvaged. And also because a few YouTubian buddies have requested that I do this, despite me boycotting NASCAR for the year, I still have a bigger connection with my YouTubian buddies than I do my Dragon Rage. So, let me tell you what's going to happen this year in the NASCAR world. This is Top 10 Countdown. My NASCAR predictions for 2016. First of all, excuse my towel on my head thing. I just took a shower and is drying my hair now to get the grunge from 2015 off me, but still. Anyway, number 10, this is going to be more of a no-brainer than anything for a variety of reasons. Tony Stewart will not make the chase in his final season. Now, before you guys say the no-brainer is, oh, he's got a back injury, there's no way he can come back from that. Don't forget what NASCAR did with Kyle Busch and his leg injury last year. But that's not the reason. Well, that's part of the reason, but not the only reason. There's a few things that you should know about Stewart-Haas Racing at this point. Kevin Harvick is the main priority driver. Kurt Busch is the backup priority driver. Danica and Tony, not so much. Have you guys realized that Stewart-Haas Racing is becoming more like some sort of fusion between Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing? Where the mega baddie is the main priority guy, the minor baddie is second place, and then the good guys, screw them. That's basically what it's come down to. Also, if what I heard is right, Tony might come back during the All-Star Weekend, which is just about when Kyle Busch came back. Not Kurt. He came back 3 races later. But anyway, he came back during the All-Star event. No, he'll come back during the All-Star event. I'll get it right here in a minute. I just took my shower and now I'm bleh. But anyway, there are certain people who NASCAR always gravitates towards. And I will not be surprised if NASCAR does not give Tony Stewart a waiver of any sort. Now, some of you will assume that performance-wise would be the reason. I'm more inclined to believe that Tony Stewart is not one of NASCAR's guys, especially after 2011. So, either way, even if Stewart goes on a tremendous run like he did during the 2011 chase, I don't expect him to make the chase for one reason or another. Either his ride is going to suck once again, and they'll give him no shot and just give it all to Harvick, in terms of that team. Or NASCAR won't give him a waiver, period, because he's not one of their guys. Now, I know a few of you are a bit up in the air about what I mean by a few of NASCAR's guys, but we'll get to that later in the countdown. Number 9 is kind of a repeat of number 10 from last year, but extended. NASCAR will once again make a stupid rule change in the middle of the season. You see, NASCAR has a habit of basically making up the rules as they go along. Trying to do other stupid things to try and help out NASCAR and test them in the truck series and realize it doesn't work. Which we'll get to a little bit later. But NASCAR, I don't know why they want to do this, but they always try to make some crazy thing happen that will ultimately cause an issue. And I'm not big with that. So I will not be surprised if NASCAR once again makes a stupid rule change. And I'm going to say the entire season because the chase once again doesn't sound likely, even though it probably would. But I'm going to include the rest of the non-factoring part of the season for them to make a dumb rule change. speaking of dumb rule changes, number 8 applies to what arguably is one of the dumbest rules I've ever heard in Truck Series history. Because the caution clock is so not well received, I predict the caution clock will be removed from the Truck Series before the end of the season. Let's face it, no one likes this rule. The rule is stupid. It's essentially a phantom debris caution every 20 minutes, now with an official name, and even when the caution clock goes off, you're still going to have the phantom debris cautions towards the end of the race. What's wrong, NASCAR? Is the Truck Series become more popular than you want to, so you guys implement something stupid? Didn't we have this scenario back in 2009 with your you can fuel and tires just not together rule? Because I remember that rule, and that was pretty stupid as well. But the caution clock, that even beats that. And I'm willing to guarantee that it'll be removed by the end of the season. And no, that will not make the last prediction come true, because that would actually be a good rule change. We need to get rid of the caution clock. Now let's face it, with the last few years, this prediction is a lock. Joe Gibbs Racing will cause at least 2 controversies and or fights, and one of them will be against Team Penske. Because, let's face it, the idiocracy cowardism that is Matt Kenseth saying that he is brave by jumping someone from behind and thinking that him blocking is a reason to take out Joey Logano at Martinsville, Matt Kenseth himself will cause one of the controversies. I just don't know against 2. It could be against one of the Penske guys, it might not. It could be another team battle. Remember him with Carl Edwards a few years ago when they were both at Roush? And I will not be surprised if Carl or Kyle, and maybe even Denny, would cause an issue. Because Denny did last year. Danica. And just face it, Joe Gibbs Racing is the most evil team in NASCAR. They have surpassed Roush by a mile. And I will not be surprised if their ridiculous ways continue in 2016. Part of the reason I don't intend on watching. Here's something else that's probably a lock. I often mention on my channel that there are certain drivers that NASCAR will do anything to screw. And obviously the biggest one of the entire racing group is Brad Keselowski. He is not one of NASCAR's people. He's an aggressive driver, but he's not a dirty aggressive driver. He plays by the Robbie method, not the Kyle method. He will take on other people and not be cowardice, Kenseth. He will try to win races legitly, and if he can't, he will not try and wreck someone to win. Right, Matt Kenseth, in your quintessential racing tweet? Texas race, if you want to know. So I will not be surprised if this comes true. My number 6 prediction is there will be at least 2 illegitimate penalty calls against Brad Keselowski. Alright. Now, personally, I hope that this prediction does not come true. But considering who his teammates are, and the fact that things that he has done over the years on and off the track has been building this up. So I will be saddened, yet not surprised, if number 5 comes true. Think back to all the things that have happened over the last few years pertaining to this particular driver. In terms of Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin has always basically been the guinea pig of the group. He's the one person who most people can actually trust and like and be a fan of. And what does he get for his effort? He gets screwed up cars. His car can't run well. Stupid things always tend to happen. And people can basically only support him in a negative way whenever he tries to defend an idiotic teammate. AKA the Free Matt campaign. And the only way he's going to find any success lately is either all of his teammates follow the race early, or this. I hope it doesn't come true, but I will not be surprised if it does. My number 5 prediction is that Denny Hamlin will finally join his JGR teammates as a baddie. I don't think he'll become a mega baddie, but he will become a baddie this year. It's been building up for such a long time, on and off the track. I kind of feel like this will be the year that Denny Hamlin turns heel. And now, as prediction, it's time for number 4, 3, and 2, my championship picks. Let's begin with number 4, the Truck Series champion. Alright, the last 2 years I said Thor Sport drivers and I was wrong both times. One because I said Sauter and it was Crafton. One because it was Crafton, but then he played dumb card and it was Eric Jones. So I'm actually not going to pick a Thor Sport driver this year, mainly because Sauter left. But I'm not picking Sauter to win the championship. I think this year's truck champion, with Crafton playing the Yahoo card, and Eric Jones now going to the Xfinity Series, I think the 2016 Truck Series champion will be Tyler Reddick. He has drastically improved over the last few years, did very well in 2015, even won Daytona. And I'm kind of thinking that if all goes well for him, he can get it done. Alright, now it's time for me to make my prediction for the Xfinity Championship. Those idiots are going to have a chase format. And based on what I have seen over the last few years, it will be a first-time champion. But I'm going to go a step beyond, unlike last year, and actually predict a driver. Based on what I've seen, hopefully the idiots don't turn him bad. But I'm thinking that the Xfinity champion for this year will be Eric Jones. And now it is time for the Sprint Cup Series Championship prediction. And this one will be a lock, because without a shadow of a doubt, the 2016 Sprint Cup Series champion will be a Mega Baddie. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Now, to differentiate, there are differences between a baddie and a Mega Baddie. A baddie is a driver that you don't necessarily trust for a variety of reasons, but is a bit tolerable and could even one day get back on your good side. A Mega Baddie is someone you despise so much in auto racing, you cannot stand that person. And there is no shot of you ever liking that person in the race car. Now, for me, so you guys can understand what I mean, these are the 7 Mega Baddies throughout NASCAR history. One is deceased, one is retired, and one I don't think is going to run the entire year and should retire. So that means your 2016 Sprint Cup Series champion is going to be one of these 4 guys. Because those guys are NASCAR people. And I don't mean NASCAR fan people, I mean Brian France people. Also, there's something else you should know. Who has won the elimination format chases? Oh yeah, 2 Mega Baddies. And I will not be surprised if a mega baddie wins it again. Because that is what NASCAR wants. Hashtag heels win lol. Now let's face it. I know that I said that NASCAR would get a boycott from me. And I know a few of you are actually going to stay and watch racing. But I will not be surprised if this number one prediction does happen. And it will be a wake-up call for NASCAR. The number one prediction? It's obvious. NASCAR will have its lowest overall rating in all 3 major series in NASCAR in years. Because, face it, the target audience for Brian France's NASCAR is the casual fan, the NFL fan, the people who they want you to have watched their product from September to November and nothing else. Basically, NASCAR is trying to get in what they believe would be a bigger fan base via the casual fan. Or the troll fan, which is basically the fans who come watch NASCAR just for the crashes. Right, people at Martinsville? Even he agrees. But anyway, it's become obvious that NASCAR does not want to stay dedicated to their fans. It is obvious at this point what NASCAR is trying to become and become about. And it is something that is tremendously sad, and one of the reasons I prefer not to watch NASCAR this year. It's become just like WWE. It's too predictable. You always say you want to gravitate towards your fans, but the only way that you will give the fans what they want if there's an outburst. Now, if you're in the wrestling world, you remember the Yes Movement from a few years ago, where Daniel Bryan managed to get involved in the WrestleMania 30 main event. Basically, that's what we had to do to get Matt Kenseth suspended after his Logano incident at Martinsville. But that, and many other things, is what is making fans leave the sport. And I'm not BSing you guys here. I have seen plenty, and I mean plenty, of comments throughout NASCAR's entire channel. Their videos, especially during the chase, and in their discussion sector on their channel. It's a very sad thing, and I believe once the ratings show how much the people are disinterested in this NASCAR, NASCAR is going to have to revert back if they want to win the fans back. Legit fans. The ones that actually care. Because at this point, there is no way that NASCAR can win their fans back with all the ridiculousness they have done over the last few years. NASCAR has to learn. And I think once they see the ratings, they will. And believe me, it's not going to be, let's bring everything back to before 2004 and everything is fixed. It's going to take years for you guys to recover from what you have done. You guys claim you're the biggest form of auto racing. Prove it. Because I assure you, the state you're in, you are not. And the ratings will prove it this year. You people at NASCAR have to fix this if you want your real fans back. Because otherwise, the fans like me will find other forms of auto racing for our fix. True, legitimate racing. No garbage like you guys have done the last few years. that's it for the countdown for this year. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Yes, I know. We'll play Pokemon later. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What predictions do you guys have for 2016? Do you intend on watching it to see if any of the predictions come true? I don't want to watch it, but I know I'm going to be surrounded by highlights and stuff, and I just know that I'm going to be playing my Pokemon game, and all of a sudden my boyfriend comes in and says, take a look at this, Rick. One of your predictions came true. Oh, you're already agreeing with that, aren't you, Benson? Well, anyway, thank you guys for enjoying the video. I hope we have a decent year. Do not be surprised if I go 10 for 10 this year, because I dramatically improved from last year, from the year before. 1 to 6 to 10. I assure you that I'm hoping 9, because I really don't want Danny Hamlin to become a baddie, but you think it's going to happen, don't you? Well, anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I should probably stop saying that, right? Yeah. Alright, let's go play. This is Ultimate 23 Dragon and Benson, and that's our final answer. The caution clock will be turned off with 20 laps remaining in all races except Canadian Tire Motorsports Park and Pocono Raceway, where it will be turned off with 10 to go, and also Eldora Raceway, which will not be used at all.